What's up, everybody? This is Whiskey in the Six. I'm Rob. Today we're starting a little bit early, but that's because I have an awesome guest tonight. He is a fellow whiskey reviewer or spirit reviewer that lives in the UK. Jason, why don't you introduce yourself, buddy?
So hey guys, this is Jason, Whiskey Wise, and I'm here in London. It's 11 p.m. and yeah, I'm a whiskey YouTuber as well, part of the Whiskey Tube. Just recently hit 1,000 subscribers, which is an absolutely awesome milestone. And tonight we're sitting with some Kavalan, so we're going to be talking about that. So yeah, thank you for having me, Rob.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. So you have a bottle of Kavalan Ex-Bourbon Solist there. Do you know how to read the ages over here? Because I'm just like familiarizing myself with it, and like people have explained it a couple times. I'm still not quite picking it up. The bottling date on the back is 2017. This was a Kavalan exclusive. It says it right there on the bottle. All right, bottled at 55.6%. The cask number is B080828075. So I'm assuming that means that it's August 2008 distillate. Am I correct?
Yeah, so basically, if you look at the barcode, I think your one will be different from mine because yours is the Kavalan bottling. But when it comes to the cask number on there, that's one thing I was probably going to try to cover a little bit. Is B is bourbon cask, so it's the cask type. So you'll find in the port cask they use as O. In the sherry they'll use an S, and the Vino Barrique they use a W for wine. Then you've got the next two long, which is the year, followed by the next two numbers, which is the month, and then the next two is the day. And then on the last few numbers is the actual barrel number on the day, followed by something I just don't know. But then you follow it up on the backside, and I don't know if you guys can see that properly, but the backside over there, it's got a little bit of a...
September 2015?
Yeah, so mine is, September 2015 on the 2nd. So that one makes this one around about 5 years old.
Yeah. So this one is 2017 October 5th, I believe. Yeah. So if that's the case, then it's 9 years and 2 months old. So it's one of the older ones for the Solist range, for sure. Right?
Yeah, definitely. I think the Kavalan group, they have the oldest bourbon Solist. So definitely, I got the regular Solist, which is one I picked up last year. What I do is every time I pick up a bottle, I'll actually keep... Well, if I meet the master distiller like that, I will put the actual date on the bottles, so I know exactly when I met the person. Otherwise, it's really bad.
Awesome. Yeah, because the master distiller signed that bottle, right?
Yeah, he actually came for a tasting in the city, and as a sort of special thing, at the end, he hung around for an extra few minutes, and I was scurrying around to find a bottle that I could buy that was something that I actually enjoyed on the night. And they didn't have the Solist Sherry, as I've got that already. So I said Solist Ex-Bourbon was a second favorite. I'll take one of those. And I know you got the Solist Port, and that's like one of my top 3 Kavalans. It's insane whiskey.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't know if this is just a extremely exceptional cask because I haven't tried any of their other port aged whiskey, but this one is incredible. It's probably the best one I've tried out of all the Solists, and I've tried quite a few, so that's a bold statement, but I honestly believe they might be the best one. Like Scott from the Scotch Test Dummies was able to try it in a blind tasting. I sent him this ex-bourbon, I sent him the port cask as well, and he absolutely loved both of them, but he was absolutely in love with the port, and for good reason. It's fantastic stuff.
It's one of the best things, and I think between me and you, I think we've covered almost all the Kavalans.
Yeah,
because I think you've done all the premium sherry ones, and I've done all the regular ones.
You've done quite a few
of the Solist.
Yeah, well, yeah, you've done a few of the Solists as well. So, yeah, for sure. So if you guys are curious out there about Kavalan, go no further than Jason Whiskey Wise's channel and my channel, because you'll be able to check all those reviews out. We're at about 27 people. So what I was thinking is we review our ex-bourbon, or I'll give mine a mark. You don't have to if you don't want to. And then I was going to open up a bottle to celebrate. If for those of you that don't know, first of all, Jason is an awesome guy. He's an awesome reviewer. He knows a lot about whiskey. He tries a lot of whiskey, and he also lives in, honestly, the whiskey hub of the world, in my opinion, where he can just, quickly go to Scotland and do a couple tours, go back home, and it's very convenient for them. Whereas in Ontario, we do have a few distilleries, but nothing that would compare to the heritage of Scotland. So I decided I'd get a rather nice bottle to open up for Jason tonight. It's going to be this Tobermory 21-year-old Manzanilla. That's that one right there. And I'm not going to review it, but it's going to kind of be like an unboxing because Jason hit 1,000 subscribers today. I believe it was today, right? Earlier on today?
It was sometime in the early hours of the morning here in the UK. And I think I got a few messages from guys on my channel. So I want to say thank you, everyone, for the wishes. And also thank you, everyone, for the support on the channel, which has just been absolutely incredible.
Yeah, and for good reason. Honestly, Jason, you do an excellent job, buddy. So you deserve it. All right, here we go.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, brother. All right, this one's going to sit. We're going to review our whiskey, and then we'll cheers to your 1,000 subscribers in a little.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, brother. I don't know about that one there, but I guess sitting in a first fill ex-bourbon cask for 9 and a bit years in Taipei with the subtropical climate has allowed this one to smell and taste a lot like bourbon. Is that the same case with yours?
Yeah, my one has got that classic style. Like today, I bought the Weller 12. It's just a new release. I just want to quickly say hi to GoHabs because I'm trying to do actually live chat on a separate feed, and it's absolutely a mission. I have huge respect for you guys who do streaming on a regular basis. Just say hi to GoHabs because I can see the messages popping up in orange. But yeah, I bought the Weller 12, which is a wheated bourbon, and that thing is quite incredible. And this, I'm getting the sort of same character on the nose. It's almost like OT biscuits and those classic bourbon notes, the vanillas, the toasted character.
Absolutely. Caramels and vanillas. And what's funny is I mentioned already that Scott from the Scotch Test Dummies did this blind and actually mistook it for a bourbon. And that's exactly what I was hoping for because I honestly thought when I opened it that it was unbelievably bourbon-esque. So I was like instantly gratified by the fact that an experienced guy like Scott was able to pin this as a bourbon. Although it's not, it's a single malt barley whiskey, right? But
it's one of the things that with Kavalan, especially, I did have my own little tasting here in the UK with a group of people, and it's something that you get it can be tricky for some people, especially doing this stuff blind. Like with the Ex-Bourbon Solist, you're getting those very rich characters coming through of that bourbon cask. Like when you do it with the sherry cask, I actually did a blind tasting with the Solar Sherry and a Macallan, and everyone actually thought that the Solist was a Scotch, but a heavily sherried Scotch, until they learned that at the end of it, it was actually a Taiwanese whiskey. So it's one of the amazing things with the maturation in the Taiwanese climate is where you get that massive heat, that tropical heat, and then it follows itself up. And they also get the cold air coming from the Siberian sort of cold breeze coming through. And they actually play around at the warehouse when I spoke to Ian Chang, master distiller. So it's quite interesting to see how they have the maturation and how they sort of play with it. And also the Angel Share in Taiwan, when I was there just a few months back. Angel Share in Taiwan, you're looking at around about 10 to 12%, which is absolutely crazy when you compare it to the Angel Share in Scotland, which is 2%. Right. So you're losing a lot from the cask.
Yeah, that's crazy. And you can tell because there's only 142 bottles of this. So for them to only get 142 bottles out of a barrel, yes, it's cask strength, but that just goes to show you how drastic the effect of the climate's having on those casks. there's a ton of pull into that wood, in my opinion. I'm not a professional when it comes to climate and oak impact, but from what I know, it's just constant breathing of that wood that's pulling and retracting that whiskey into the cask.
And that's exactly what the climate over there does. Now, even like for anyone who doesn't know about the Solist range for Kavalan, the Solist range basically means like a single cask. So that's why I think my one over here is 189 bottles. I think I've done the review on this one already quite a while back, but it's all single cask bottlings. And then you've got their oak range, which is basically stuff that's been watered down to 46%, but still retains its natural color and its non-chill filtration, which is really cool about them and what they do there in Taiwan.
Yeah, for sure. So Jeremy H, he's been on my channel a few times. He writes for Toronto Whiskey Society. He's writing his notes on the nose: creamy vanilla off the top, pineapple, pina colada, melon, bourbon-like caramel, shortbread, and a nice spicy oakiness. He has this bottle as well. He might even have two of these. I'm not 100% sure, but it's
Yes.
awesome stuff. This particular expression, this particular bottle here, I don't know. I would love to know what the other ones taste like, because this one's insanely good. And like, I have water and I don't feel the need to add any water to this. It drinks like a 48% scotch, like an older 48% scotch. Just a couple of shout outs.
Nice, rich, viscous.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry. Finish your thought. Yeah, it's beautiful. It is. Few shout outs here to Swami from Malta to Montreal, just joined us. We have Duncan Harmsworth. We have Jez. We have Shemi. I'm not sure I've probably butchered your name, brother, but I don't see you in the chat, to be honest with you. Carl Go Habs is here. You've already given him a shout out. Who else do we have? Apu.
Bronco Rog.
Bronco Rog, yeah, he's higher up. We got probably Rob from Simple Diversion. I'm not sure if that's Graham or Rob, but I'm guessing that's Rob. We got Scott, Kilted Moose. We have Whiskey Wings, Dan Trout. Jillian joined us. Welcome, everybody. Tim's in the house now. Awesome to see you guys. I know it's early for us. This is about dinner time for you guys. So if you stopped your dinner to check us out, I appreciate it. But if you're in the UK, it's almost bedtime. And Peter White's here too.
Oh, yeah. I think GoHabs probably knows by now when he sees me jumping in all the streams last week. My sleep schedule's gone out the wall right now. I've just been sitting with whiskey, and I sat with so many the other night, and he was telling me every time, he said, "Go to sleep, stop being a vampire." So
it's hard when you're not on when I know that when summer holidays kicks in for me, I get to bed late. I wake up at all sorts of different times. Now that I have kids, I'm forced to wake up early, so I'm going to bed at like 1, 2 in the morning, and I'm waking up at like 7 or 8 in the morning. It's not the best. So during the school year while I'm working, I actually get more sleep than in the summertime.
I know. Sometimes you just get sleep deprived, especially on the holidays. Like here, it's been Easter holidays since last week, and it's still Easter holidays this week. So pretty much everyone's off, and it's one of those things, like, I just don't feel like going to sleep in a normal time right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't I'm a night owl, so if I didn't have to go to sleep because of work, I probably would be up till the wee hours of the night for sure. Tony is saying G-Day, gents. I'm not sure. Oh, like good day, I guess.
Oh,
what's up,
good
Tony?
day, gents.
Yeah, there you go. I'm assuming he might be from Australia. I could be wrong. Yeah, so honestly, if I had to mark this on the nose, I'm going to agree with a lot of the things that Jeremy said. I don't quite get the pina colada. I do get some of the oaky characteristics that you would get out of an older bourbon. I wonder what the regulations are, like if they have to scrub their barrels or rinse out their barrels before they put in their spirit in there, because
So
it feels like they're robbing. I know you said I know you've mentioned before that they ship the entire barrel to Taipei, right?
yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say. So what they do is, because I went to the distillery, what they do is they ship the whole barrel full, which is very different because many people will just sort of undo the barrels, put them together, and send them. But these guys, what they do is they ship all the barrels full and whole. Well, not full of alcohol, no, not full of bourbon, but yeah, full as in whole. And what they do then is then they'll rechar them or they'll toast them inside to reactivate them. And just make sure if there's any residue that it is taken out. So it's not going to affect too much, but it'll be very minimal. They'll try to keep a little bit more in there so the wood will hold itself.
Okay,
And,
so that does answer my question though, because I was wondering if they would rechar the barrel, because you get a ton of whatever spirit or wine was in that cask somehow. I don't know if it has to do with the climate or what, but I get a ton of it. Daydreaming just dropped in. He's from Australia for sure. What's up, brother? He has a really cool Instagram channel, actually. I'm not sure if you follow him, but really cool guy.
Yep. Yeah, that's one thing. I think the good thing is we use all the different platforms. So you got Snubs as well, which I think I need to sign up to at the minute. I saw your video yesterday on the Macallan collection. So that's one thing I need to do. It's going to take me a few hours to put all my collection in that Snubs collection.
It does take, at first it takes a little bit of time, but then once you have it all set up and ready to go, then it's pretty easy updating. Once you get a new bottle, you snap a picture of it and you put it in your bunker or wherever you keep all your whiskey. I don't have beautiful shelves. I don't really like the idea of putting all my whiskeys on shelves as well, because multiple reasons, but mainly because I want to protect it from exposure to light and like variances in
temperature fluctuations.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we're at about 32. We fluctuated to about 37 or 38 at one point. I'm gonna give this a mark. I'm gonna say that this is an A+, probably like a 90 on the dot. Good stuff overall. I think it's excellent stuff. It's one of my favorite Solus for sure. It's an easier to drink Solus than I find some of the sherry expressions are, because like you have to be in the mood for the Oloroso sherry, just the sherry Solus. That's really thick on the palate. I don't know. Do you find the same thing?
Yeah, the Oloroso sherry, the classic Solus sherry, that one is quite intense, quite viscous, and you really get a lot of those classic Oloroso sherry characters coming through. Some people find it quite intense. I know some people can find there's an imbalance in certain batches, so it is worth having a look at the barcode number when you are buying a bottle of the Kavalan Solus, as each barcode will be a different batch, and so some batches will differ. But yeah, I definitely like my one is actually very well rounded. I picked this one up a while back, and I don't know. Let me see if I can get it out the bag. This is my one. It doesn't come in the tubes like they come out there in Canada and the States, but it's like that. And this one here, it's one of the darkest whiskeys I own.
Yeah, they are super dark. Good.
It's insane because that there, I think it's a 6-year-old.
Oh wow, that looks pretty intense for sure. Jeremy's saying that PX sherry is unreal. I really like the PX. It's not my favorite. I think we agree on one of the favorites anyway. My favorite of all the sherry types so far has been the Manzanilla. Sorry, I haven't tried the Fino yet. Or I have tried the Fino, but I've only tried a sample. I'm getting a bottle of it shortly, so I will be reviewing that shortly. But I think the Manzanilla is a little bit ahead of the Amontillado. I know that
Amontillado.
Yeah.
Amontillado.
Amontillado, yeah. I want to say la, but they're yeah.
Yeah, it's all these different sherry casks, which make it kind of difficult. But hey, as long as they impart a really cool flavor, and like when there's a little history, like I was watching all the different types of sherry casks and trying to understand them all. My God, that's another world. That's why I think I'll learn. I'll have to learn that gradually, because as soon as you learn that, it makes life so much easier.
Yeah. The only thing I know about, and the reason why I know them is because of Kavalan, because they're the ones that use the most different, like diverse types of sherry. The Fino and the Manzanilla have that floored, like that, basically that yeast that collects at the top of their sherry, if I'm not mistaken. And they're both coastal aged, so they both have like a saltiness to it as well.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about the Manzanilla. It's like salted caramel, but with darker, sort of chocolate characters.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why to be honest, that's why I bought this Tobermory, because I felt like it was the closest thing we could try from Scotch that translates well to the Kavalan that we're trying tonight. This one's a Manzanilla finish. I don't know how long it's been finished for in Manzanilla. I got to do the research still, but this goes for 300 Canadian dollars at the LCBO. Not cheap, but it's a cask strength 21-year-old Tobermory, so you're not going to get those for cheap, I don't think, unless you live in Scotland, of course. What would something like this go for in the UK?
Around about 120 to 200. So it is in that price range that you pick it up for. I think if you got it for equivalent of 150 to 180, I'd say you're within the perfect price range, or maybe you'd have got it a bit cheaper. As I know in London, I know for like in Scotland, you get good deals. In London, sometimes you just get ripped off so badly. It's so sad. It's because you're living in a major city, so people want to charge you even more.
It's the major city influence. Like in Toronto, Ontario, everything costs more. Everything. So it doesn't matter what you buy. And London is even way bigger. I don't know. What's the population of London?
Oh, it's crazy. I've forgotten the exact figure because I did a little consensus of the stuff when I was in university to get the full thing. But there's lots of people. It's uncomfortable. Like even just now, I was coming back on the train from the city, and at 9:30 at night, there were so many people on the train, and these people are not drunk. They're returning home from work that late, which is just messed up.
That is crazy. Crazy. Yeah,
I was going to say shout out to Day Dramming. Actually, he goes that. Solist looks like treacle, and I can see that. And also Whiskey Wings saying he loves the work that we're both doing on here.
Yeah, thank you to both of you guys. Whiskey Wings, thank you, buddy. 8.8 mil. I'm not sure what he's referring to. I know that
that's probably the people.
Like in the London, like downtown core, probably.
Yeah, in the whole of London borough, because I think when I checked last, I think it was like 5 years ago or 4 years ago when I was in university, it was 5 point something.
Okay.
5.8, 5.9.
I feel like I got to put my volume down here because for whatever reason, it keeps switching back to me when you're talking.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, I just don't want it to, I think Toronto, like the Greater Toronto area, which includes like an hour radius pretty much of Toronto, has maybe 7 million people. But downtown, I think or Toronto itself has, I think, less than 3 million, or I could be mistaken. I'm not 100% sure. But it's one of our bigger cities, believe it or not. But then again, we only have 40 million people in the entire country. So... I'm gonna start this one over here, and I'm gonna start by nosing it. And right off the hop, it's everything I was hoping for on the nose. Anyway, it's super syrupy, super caramelized, and like you just said, like salted caramel. Man, that nose is gorgeous. I wish we were closer and I could share a dram with you right now, but maybe I can arrange for you to get. Well, you're coming to Canada eventually, right? Very soon, I think.
I was gonna mention that. I think in 3 months' time, I think it might be. Yeah. So if all goes to plan, I should be there. And I actually was there in Toronto 2 years ago before I started doing all this YouTube stuff. I was actually just there visiting family, so I was in Mississauga, and then went down to Niagara Falls and went to the casino over there and won a whole lot of money, which is actually kind of so messed up. Being a tourist and winning money, I was like, that's just something's wrong over there. You go to Vegas, you're always going to end up losing money, but in Canada, I ended up winning money, which is brilliant. And then the Chinatown, and then the CN Tower and everything. It was awesome out there, and the Blue Jay Stadium as well.
Did you enjoy it? You enjoyed Toronto?
I loved it, but it actually snowed for the whole 5 days that I was there. So it was the first time in my life I shoveled a driveway. So
yeah, if you stick around long enough, you definitely will have your opportunity. You'll get to pop your driveway shoveling cherry. That's for sure.
Yeah, because I landed off the flight, and the first thing my aunt says to me, she goes, "Would you happen to be able to shovel the driveway?" And I was like, "I've never done that in my life. Sure, I'll give it a go." And she was like, "You're the first person that's willing to shovel the driveway." And I said, "Well, in the UK, we don't get that much snow, so it's kind of like a first, and I'm going to kind of go with this." It's so fun. It's so fun. And then the neighbors came over like, "Can he do ours?" And I was like, "I'm tired. I just want some tea." So
yeah, and they start to abuse it when they see that you're efficient at it or you're overzealous about it. So Peter White's saying 5.5 mil in the GTA, so not as big, not as large as I thought it was, but maybe it's Ontario as a whole that has around 7 million. I'm not sure. I could be wrong about that. Because Northern Ontario has probably one person per 300 miles. I don't know how like it's ridiculous how large Ontario is. Shemi is saying big Brampton. So Brampton is actually just north of where you were in Canada. It's literally like 20 minutes north, 10 minutes, depending. They border each other, so could be a minute north, depending on where you are. I think you said you were near Square One. Around there?
Yeah, I was like 5 minutes from Square One. So my family said to me, "If I get lost, just go to Square One." I said, "Well, how are you going to find me? It's a big place." They can go, "Just go there. You'll be back to Square One." I was like, "Okay." And then I got it afterwards. "You're back to Square One." I was like, "Come on."
That's awesome. It's so Mississauga is it's a growing city, but it's technically not considered Toronto. I don't think it's actually considered the Greater Toronto area, but I could be wrong. I don't think it is. I don't think it's not one of the 6 boroughs of Toronto. Technically, why Toronto's called or Toronto's nickname Whisky or 6. Because
okay, yeah.
There you go. So there.
That makes sense. We've got I think Bill the Whiskey Dick. He's also in the stream. I'm just trying to read the comments, which is it's going quicker than I thought, which is quite awesome.
Yeah, no, it's for this time it's hard to get more than 34, 35 people. So we're doing well. People are like in this. Well, most of my subscribers are usually eating their dinner by this point. But if you guys are just tuning in, Jason has a YouTube channel called Jason Whiskey Wise. He does an excellent job. He's a super cool guy. You guys want to check him out. He just hit 1,000 subscribers, which is why I opened up this bottle of Tobermory 21-year-old that I'm about to take a sip of to congratulate him again. So cheers, brother. Congratulations on 1,000 subs.
Cheers.
So I opened the bottle of Deanston 20-year-old. I don't know. It was the other night on a live stream, so a week ago, I guess. And I got a lot of ammonia and sulfur off of this one. And I don't know if it's because of the sherry influence on this one and the high ABV and all those different things, the age of it. It almost this is where the limit for my palate can enjoy whiskey with this one. It doesn't have the ammonia, but it has a little bit of the sulfur, and I don't mind sulfur. It's reminding me a little bit of that Deanston, mainly because of like the actual like nice notes that you get out of the Deanston, but I don't pick up like the saltiness of like a Manzanilla.
So the interesting thing I actually was talking about recently, when it came to, I think it was sherry casks, and when they sort of re-char them, especially after transporting them, is they actually burn a sulfur stick inside the cask, and that's to get rid of all these sort of bacteria, or kill any bacteria that's left in the cask, so that there's, when they mature the whiskey, and that's where sometimes some of these distilleries might overdo it, and that's where we get this really harsh sulfury character coming through. Some distilleries like Macallan or Glenfarclas, they use these casks, and some people can really pick them out much more. And I think I was talking to Vin from No Nonsense Whiskey, because when he picks out sulfur, that's like, I find that a skill to pick out sulfur that in the most minute fraction. And I just thought, I was like, that is cool. He knows. So if you give him a whiskey, he'll know that if there's a sherry cask or not, it's quite awesome. So that's one of the reasons you get this sometimes this very sulfury, horrible flavor. It's because of the sulfur stick inside, which they burn. And then once it's done, they say, oh, well, let's retoast the cask now. And then it's ready for using to put whiskey in. But it does impart a little bit of that character into the wood. And at the end of the day, wood's like a sponge. So when you put the whiskey in, that sulfur is then going to go straight into the whiskey.
That's right.
It's kind of the sad thing, but...
Yeah, no, I you know what, I don't, now that I added a little water, like it seems like it might be there on like a very small scale, but nowhere near unpleasant. It's actually really nice. Whereas with that Deanston, I gotta let it like oxidize a little bit, I think, because it was borderline unpleasant. And it was concerning a little bit because it was a little bit like on the ammonia side. So not just sulfur, but ammonia as well. And I don't know what the smell of ammonia kind of smells.
I think I mentioned this in one of my videos. Is when I was in high school, we used to do a lot of chemistry, and we used to do a lot of these experiments. And some of these things that we used to do with these like sulfur and everything that we used to play around with, lithium, it used to be so messed up. So yeah, that's why sometimes when I get these chemically notes, I want to say it in a video, and then I'm like, no, I should hold back, because people will be like, what the hell did you do to your whiskey, or what did you get out of it? Yeah. But it's all about linking our flavor profiles to what we've experienced in our memories, which is what the tasting notes are effectively about. I want to say, I think Gohab's just mentioned, he goes, where is Mr. Where's the monkey shoulder? I think he means Mr. Bananas. He's in the studio. He's filming tomorrow's videos.
You gotta grab him.
He's in the studio. He's like a 3-minute walk from here.
Okay, all right.
It would have been quite cool to have him just like pop up over my shoulder. But yeah, I was trying to do tomorrow's videos, the next series of videos, and it's just been one of those things, just getting everything backwards and forwards between the studio and the house. It's just oh goodness, it's quite a fun experience.
Yeah, this is really nice. This is it does have that caramel note that I was looking for with a little bit of water. Not so salty, drying a little bit, but overall very pleasant. Interesting stuff. I feel like maybe I should try the Deanston again after this, because I'm like, it's almost like a stepping stone to that to prepare myself. Have you tried the Deanston 20-year-old cask strength?
I've not seen that one here in the UK. I think I mentioned this to you. I've not posted it yet. I just bought it yesterday. I bought the Deanston Bordeaux cask, which is the first time sort of Deanston's used this red wine. And that's like exclusive, I think, for the UK. And in the United States, they've just got a Madeira cask. There's a port cask somewhere around the world. So Deanston have got some really cool expressions and really cool finishes, but they're very difficult to find because they're just throwing them everywhere around the world. They should make them like exclusives for like 2 months in this country and then 2 months in that country. That 20 though, it does look rather interesting.
Yeah, I'm curious if it'll change. I'm hoping it does. I know the Scotch 4 Dummies just did a review on it. I didn't get a chance to watch the whole thing just yet, but I'm gonna watch their video to see if they got similar notes that I got. it's interesting because Daydreaming says, I think sulfur is one of those things that you don't notice until you do, and then regardless of how light, you notice it. I will say though, I picked up that ammonia note from a Glenfarclas 15-year-old that I opened a while back, and that ammonia note was so overwhelming that I immediately gave that bottle away. And anything else I owned of Glenfarclas, I either traded or sold because I was afraid to get that note ever again. Because, yeah, ammonia is like, I can deal with sulfur, but ammonia is one of those things that I have no ability to put up with.
I know it can be very intense.
Yeah. Peter White saying that the Tobermory 21 Manzanilla is limited to 5,500 bottles. I'm glad I picked up a second one of these. For those of you that don't know, I traded my Macallan 21-year-old, and I picked up 2 of these and a couple other things because that's just how much Macallan 21-year-old goes for in Ontario. And the good thing about the LCBO is if it's purchased from there, it can be returned to there. Even if you didn't directly purchase it, even if it was a gift, they'll give you a gift card. So that's basically what I did with this. There's some nice salted caramel notes on the nose here. What do you drink?
I'm gonna keep. My glass is empty. I gotta pour something in it. I was gonna say though, you call it Manzanilla. It is a fantastic cask, and I'm gonna try finding that Tobermory 21 here in the UK if I can, because that has got me very curious. As we both share the same sort of favorite in the Solist range, the premium Solist as I call them, which is the Kavalan Manzanilla. It's just incredible. So this is the next whiskey I'm actually going to drink. Is one I created when I was in Taiwan. I don't know if you guys can see that. Look at this top piece there. It's just shiny as anything, and it's my own personal blend and my own name on it. So
very cool.
Basically in Taiwan, I don't know if I should do like cover that. I only took pictures when I was in Taiwan, but they give you 3 different samples to play with, and you've got to sort of make your own sort of portions of each one. And then I wrote my tasting notes, and then like many people just did 2 or 3. I went all the way down to the bottom of the page, and I was tempted to change over and get another one, but I made my own blend. And the lady over there goes, "Oh, he's really interested in whiskey," and I was like, "You don't know how crazy I am with whiskeys." So I'm gonna try this one. I actually gave a few samples out to a few people here in the UK, but I have not yet tried it myself properly. Because when I first tried it, I was just like, "Yes," but I want to see how it's changed over 4 months since I've been in Taiwan.
Yeah, is it cask strength?
42%. So no, it was lower because of the when they blend, they have to play with the lower ABVs.
Oh, I see. Cool. Blind whiskey reviews. The notes I hear described on some scotches. Maybe I don't have this fully to the side here. Scotches, ammonia, sulfur, iodine. Yeah, honestly. First of all, if you haven't checked out Blind Whiskey Reviews, he's an upcoming channel. Really cool. He does a lot of bourbons. Nice guy. Ammonia and sulfur are things that sulfur you can deal with a little bit. Ammonia is one of those things where if it's in a whiskey, it's probably not a good whiskey. Like it can't be covered up. It's ammonia is the smell of urine, basically. That's how I associate it. So. I don't know. It's not a good whiskey if it smells like pee.
That's when they let Bear Grylls wild and he started doing his stuff all over. Well, we've got Charles drinking caveman out in the chat actually. So he's also got a channel. I think he does a dual channel with Scotch and Sniff. Well, Sniff. They do a whiskey Untitled, I think, as well.
Yeah. So actually, this is one of the few times that I'm on before Charles and Sniff. So check them out after this because they'll be on around 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, as far as I know. I believe that's the time that they go on. So we'll have primed you guys nicely for you to transition into their show. So what else? Tell us what's going on with Jason Whiskey wise. What reviews are coming up? What special events? What's going on with you, buddy?
All right, so I was actually going to shoot a video today, but I got back late from London. Uh, One of my friends tried to just get too many drams from me, and I said to him, no, I need to go do my live stream today. But on the channel right now, what I'm planning to do is cover different whiskeys in terms of ranges. So I'm going to complete off, I think next up, we just finished Talisker from the 10 all the way to the 30. I think it's 11 whiskeys in total to complete the Talisker series, including all the travel retails. I'm just trying to cover as many sort of travel retail expressions, looking at basically doing distillery tours, taking people around the world. So when I go to whiskey shows and whiskey events, take you guys along with me. So you get to experience these different atmospheres, and it just gives a different, completely look to, instead of just talking in front of a camera and doing the whiskey review, because I know I do that. I'm doing that daily at the minute, and yeah, I think people want to see also a little bit of a change up. So I'm going to try working on that for the upcoming year. Actually, I'm no longer going to run a written blog, as I decided doing the YouTube is what I want 100% focus my time when it comes to whiskey productions. But then also, like Rob and myself, we run the Instagrams and Facebooks and Twitter and Snubs. So those are really cool avenues as well for other people to sort of join the community in that sense and try looking at these different branching out. So I think Instagram I try to use as much as possible for the story feature, and even posting daily of pictures of every new bottle I get. And I'm gonna probably download Snubs tomorrow morning and archive my collection, which is gonna be a mission, but it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, the way I did it is when I first downloaded Snubs, I said I was gonna do a couple bottles a day. And then I just got into the flow, and it started to make sense. And from when I started with Snubs to now, they've improved the app already so much. So I can just imagine what a couple, because they're pretty young. They're UK based, really cool app. So yeah, honestly, for me, it's a life changer because I don't have to worry about what's on my table. I don't have to worry about what's in my bunker. As soon as I get a bottle, I take a picture of it. I throw it on my, like, either Scotch or bourbon, Canadian whiskey, world whiskey, whatever category it belongs to. And then, yeah, it's been, like I said, a life changer when it comes to organizing my collection.
Yeah, for me, I'm just trying to find where I kept bottles, because I keep bottles in London, in the city. So basically, I keep it in certain shops. I keep bottles at home. I keep bottles with my friends. I don't even know if I misplaced bottles, and that's the worst bit. I think the one bottle I misplaced 5 times, and I've actually lost 5 of these bottles, which was the Kilchoman Makia Bay. So I bought one, I went for dinner, and I left the bottle at the restaurant. It's like, these things just happen to me. Then the second time I bought one, I went for a drink where I go normally at Milroy's, and I left the bottle there on the floor, and I was like, for God's sake, this is just... When I got home, I was like, where the hell did my bottle go? It's just like one of those things. So I just got to take more care with where I keep my bottles in the UK, actually.
Yeah. I don't have that problem, and we're not able to bring our bottles to various restaurants. I know that there's a few bars that'll allow us to do that, but restaurants definitely not. So what, like, a corking fee or something like that?
Because I go to some of these places so frequently, they just let me keep my bottles there. They've got a special vault for me. So on my keyring at the minute, I've got a couple different locks of different places I go in the city. So if I go there, I'm just like, I need to take this bottle home. I want to review it. So I'll take this one home and work my way through them all. But it's difficult keeping so many bottles, I feel. And I think this is what I was trying to... I was speaking to yourself and I think a few other people. Keeping as many bottles as we do have, it's kind of a mission. So that's why I started using more of these drams, because it just saves space. And at the same time, we can keep moving on. Like, I've got 800. I should do that in my video. I should do that video on the amount of samples I have that I bought from Drinks by the Dram. People will say I'm crazy. I think I've got 600 or 800 samples. I went on a buying spree, and I was like, oh, I want to get this sample. And then I went on another one. I was like, I need that one, actually. Let me buy the whole range. And before you know it, you've got so many samples, you don't know what to do with them. This has changed a lot. This sample, this bottle of my own. I think Charles from Drinking Caveman, he said he wants to try this when he's here in London. I think he's coming here next month. So I'm going to take a little dram and give this to him and see what he thinks. I'm going to let him critique it. But it's changed. I've got more coconut, which is very different. Which is a classic sort of, I get that in grain whiskey a lot.
Coconut's one of those things that if I can get that in a single malt, I will buy it every single I get. So like Glengoyne 12-year-old is one of the few single malts that I pick it up predominantly on the palate and the nose. And it's a go-to 12-year-old for me. And eventually I'll do my favorite 12-year-old Scotch. Like, spoiler alert for the 30 people watching right now, because that's probably going to be it.
And Rob afterwards, like the thousands that will watch it afterwards.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
We never know. Your Whiskey of the Year video went huge.
Yeah, that's true. It did well. They kind of slowed down after a little while, and then for whatever reason, I get stuck at about 10,000 to 15,000 whenever that kind of happens. But yeah, I get lucky every once in a while, and one of my videos will do pretty well, so I can't complain. But for those of you watching, in case this video goes viral, check out Jason Whiskey Wise, because he has a YouTube channel, and you definitely want to subscribe to him. If you haven't done that already, all 30 of you that are on here, I'm sure you're already subscribed to Jason. But if you're not, or if any of you aren't, go check out his channel, because he reviews a lot of really cool whiskey, and he's tasted a lot of really cool whiskey. And honestly, the only way to really grow in the whiskey reviewing community is if you try a ton of whiskey. Honestly, you have to try a ton. Like, you can know a ton about distilleries, and you can know a ton about barrel play, and you can know a ton about other things. But if you're not in the field, if you're not drinking whiskey and drinking many different types and expensive and run-of-the-mill and all different ranges of whiskey, you're never going to actually get the experience you need. So I highly recommend that if you do plan on opening up or doing a whiskey channel or doing a blog or whatever you're going to do, drink a bunch of whiskey right before you do that. Because I think although I had a lot of Canadian whiskey, a lot of bourbon, and a lot of different kinds of whiskey leading up to starting my channel, I wish I would have drank maybe 100 more. You know what I mean? Just so that those first few videos wouldn't have been so painful.
I remember watching your first few videos, and I remember looking at the young Rob, and I was like, I mean, I think when you were doing the Glengoynes, and you were saying you had a bottle of Glengoyne which you didn't want to open up, and I was like, oh my god, is he gonna open it? And then he's like, it's like, I would wish the company would send me some sample of this. And I was like, that was something. And then I think I watched Scotch Test Dummies and Mark at the Whiskey Whistle. I actually haven't mentioned yet, and I think it's like in Korea, it's like it should be really early for him in the morning, like 5 in the morning. But I watched you three guys when I started out my channel, before I started my channel properly, and then I was like, let me try and give it a go. And then when you put yourself in front of a camera, believe me, that is difficult. Oh, yeah. That is, you feel like you're doing it live. That's the thing that goes through your heart. You get a little bit of fear. You're just like, oh, what's going to happen? And then when you just get into it, like if I compare my first video to my latest video, and I see the complete change, it gives you a little bit like you see the evolution and how you change your style, and it's amazing. And that's one thing, like you mentioned as well, when it comes to whiskey development. I get this question a lot, and I think one of us in the Whiskey Tube will have to cover it soon, is developing your palate. Because I get asked so many times, even when I'm sitting and having a drink in the city, people ask me, how do you develop your palate? And I say to them, it's just about finding a good bar. When I say a good bar, I mean one that's not going to rip you off. Or like if you've got the accessibility to master and malt drinks by the dram, get loads of these different whiskeys and sit at your own pace and nothing bothering you, and just enjoy these different whiskeys. Pick out the notes. If you can't pick them out when you're starting off, it's okay. Your palate will take time to adjust. And I think this is one thing we spoke about as well before, is whenever I travel anywhere, I try to try all the most craziest food dishes, because that's where you're going to pick out these sort of instant characters where you'll be like, oh, I remember trying that. Like in my Talisker 30 video today, without being a super spoiler. When I was in India, instead of them using, sometimes if you don't buy bottled water, you can't drink straight from the tap. So they put it into either copper pots or clay pots. One, it'll take out all the impurities, and secondly, it cools it down. And in the Talisker 30, I felt that distinctive character that reminded me when I was in India of drinking water from a clay pot, where you get that slight. It's very difficult to describe it, but like that instantly, I was like, that's like that. So it's just all these different experiences, and you link them together. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's one of the amazing things, and it's all about your life experiences as well. So linking the life experiences with all these different flavors and different types of drink and food, you'll see your palate will develop a lot faster. I think we answered the question there.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think you just answered the question that all these guys were wondering. And it's funny because if you ask most of us, like, I don't know, we don't get to hang out too much. So this is one of the first times we actually were on a live together. We've been on like in a group, but we don't get to like pick each other's brain too often. From what I'm gathering, you're a bit of a foodie as well, and I think that's important when you start something like this. You need to have a good, like a well-developed palate. It can't be like one of those guys that I don't eat seafood and I don't like this or that, or like you got to kind of try everything. You have to kind of know what everything tastes like in order to get like a well-rounded idea of what you're pulling out of each dram. You know what I mean? And honestly, I think that's the only reason why I've been pretty effective on my first two blind tastings. Watch, I'll do another one and I'll completely bomb and eat my words. But I think it has a lot to do with, number one, just knowing a lot of different flavors, and number two, getting a lot of different flavors out of different whiskeys and associating those flavors with certain regions of whiskey, basically. Whiskey making.
And one thing you brought up, which I thought was really awesome there, is the blind tasting concept. So, Roy made me do the Aqua Vitae blind challenge.
That's right.
And I actually, if anyone has seen that video, I actually cut my desk because I didn't realize at the time. I actually was changing my desk around. I was shuffling it around, and I realized I've got 3 major slits in my desk still, which is the worst bit. But yeah, getting back to blind challenges. If any of you guys have like a friend or someone who's local to you or in the same area or sort of like area that you sort of live in, get these sort of friends to pour you different drams and swap them and do this sort of blind challenge concept, because like you were saying, it's very difficult to pick out the flavors, but once you get going with it, like you'll pick up distinctive characters of bourbon cask, a sherry cask, a Madeira cask. For me, Madeira and port are very difficult to distinguish sometimes, where you get those distinctive characters of berries coming through. But some people pick them out really easily, and it's one of the really cool things. Like you've got the Manzanillo.
Yeah, this one would be hard. This one would be really hard to pick out, I think. It smells different coming out of the bottle than it does after a little while sitting. It's the first 3 like sniffs I gave of this, I was absolutely in love. And now it's like, it's somewhere in a zone where it's a bit foggy for me and I'll have to revisit it. But I kind of want to really like this, although I'm not sure if I do yet. If that makes any sense. Like it's not bad whiskey by any means. I think I might really enjoy it later on when it opens up a little bit more. But there's aspects that I'm not crazy about so far. So we'll see. And I don't know if that's a Manzanilla thing or if that's just this Tobermory 21-year-old Manzanilla thing, but I
think Thomas is just asking in the chat. He was asking, how's that Tobermory tasting?
It's good. It's good. I'm not sure if I love the smell just yet. Like there's times where I bring my nose to it and I'm like, okay, this is really nice. And then there's other times where I'm like, I'm not sure. On the palate, and that's with quite a bit of water. It's mostly oak, which is not bad oak, like a dark chocolatey type oak flavor, which I may have watered it down a little too much, to be honest with you. I was getting a little bit more caramel prior to adding any water whatsoever. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's one of the things that it's something that I was speaking to someone, I think recently, last week, about is finishing and maturation times. And this is one of the very difficult arts within the whiskey industry, is to find that perfect maturation point to whether whiskey becomes out perfectly or whether it comes a bit overdone, like very oaky, and you get too much of that wood forward, so to speak, or oak forward presence on the palate. And sometimes a young whiskey can taste very old just because of that like over maturation or finishing. And that's like, I think one thing that we were talking about as well earlier is understanding different finishes, because like you say, Manzanilla gives you that little salted caramel character, and then you distinguish it from something else, which could give you just a slightly different note, like port. Port's one of my favorites. You've got such a bad sweet spot right now for port. I wish I could do all the port whiskeys, but it's something I'll plan on in the future.
You know what? So far, I love Glendronach products, but anything that they do that is finished, I find I don't love. A couple of the port finishes, I didn't love those. This peated one is pretty good. The peated port, it's pretty good, but Jeremy lent me this bottle. He says that when he first opened it, it was almost unnosable. Like, he didn't like it at all. So a lot can be said by letting a bottle open up a little bit, give it a chance. The ports are hit or miss for me, because there's some ports that I absolutely love. Like, I really like the Tomatin 14-year-old port finish. I love this Kavalan port Solist, but there's some parts that I couldn't get around. I guess it depends. Just like any.
Yeah, and I think that goes into the maturation as well in terms of the finishing, because I think, is it Glenmorangie? They have the Kintaruban.
Mm-hmm.
That one, again, that one's finished for 2 years in a ruby. I think it is a ruby port cask.
Yeah, and that one's nice. That one I really like.
Yeah, and then I think I tried one today in the afternoon, if memory serves me well. I tried like 6 whiskeys today, so. And then I had doubles of them, which is not advisable before a stream. But I had a port cask Aaron, and then you've got the, was it Balvenie 21 Portwood, which one of the guys in the bar opened up for us, and that was really awesome. The 21 Portwood is one of my favorite Balvenies. But then the price point here in the UK now, it's gone up by almost £30, and it's 154. So price keeps creeping slowly.
Yeah, the Balvenie here, that port one costs over $400 if I'm not mistaken in Ontario now, which is absurd in my opinion, especially because I think it's 40 or 43% ABV. I want to just give a few shout outs. We have, my phone's ringing in the background. I apologize, guys. My wife will get that eventually. Fred Hansen says Glengoyne 25 is the best. One Glassman just joined us. Dan E is talking about a bad cork. I'm not sure who he was talking to. Tobermory fans, keep an eye on Lejeg 18 Sherry cask if you like Pete. That's coming from Tash. I was really, honestly, what in Ontario released together was this Tobermory 21 Manzanilla and the Lejeg 19 Marsala cask. And Marsala cask is an Sicilian wine. And I was actually really looking forward to finding that, but I think I missed the boat because it escaped before I had a chance to grab it. Aquavite just joined us. I'm pretty sure everybody that's with us right now knows who Aquavite is, but if you don't, he has a YouTube channel. His name is Roy, and he's a great guy. So check him out. He's saying congratulations to you, Jason, for your 1,000.
Thank you very much, Roy. I was going to say also hi to, I saw Santa Cruzans here in the chat, and Richie as well. Richie goes, cheers, Rob and Jason.
Yeah.
So hey to Richie as well.
Richie? What's up, Chris? How's it going, guys? Also see Loch Ness Rich. He's in the house as well. And then, yeah, I think I mentioned everybody else. We're at 32. We've been kind of at 30 to 35 for the last little while. What do you got there? You good for one more dram, or what are we doing?
If you want, we can have another dram and then we can call it.
Yeah, let's do one more. I just want to take out this beautiful Longrow Red 13 that I opened up last night. I usually put Mondays and Wednesdays because I teach kickboxing on those 2 nights. And I teach Saturday, but I kind of ignore the fact that I teach Saturday because it's during the day. I usually make those my dry days on Monday and Wednesday where I don't have any alcohol whatsoever. But these arrived in the mail yesterday, courtesy of Whiskey Throttle, because I bought 5 of these. 2 he kept, 2 I kept, and then 1 my buddy got. We got the last 5 at a store in Alberta, and then he arranged to get them shipped out to me. I opened this up last night, and it's funny because everybody says that Springbank 20 or 12-year-old is not peated, or it's not heavily peated anyway. I don't notice that much more peat, and I'm gonna do for that purpose. I think I brought it downstairs. I may not have. I didn't bring it downstairs because what I think in my head and what I actually do are always 2 different things. But the Springbank 12-year-old that I have upstairs, I want to do a head-to-head with this Malbec 13. Roy's wondering if it's the Malbec. This is the Malbec. I will be getting the Cab Franc, sorry, very shortly. But I don't notice a huge difference between the Springbank 12 and this Longrow 13. I do notice like a little bit more strawberry and certain like fruits in the Longrow, but it's not much more peated in my opinion than the Springbank. Have you ever had the chance to try either of those 2?
I think I've tried quite a lot of Springbank. I've done the 12, the 14. I've been lucky enough to get given a sample of the local barley from Connor Strand. But I think right now I've tried the Longrow, the one you've got there, the 13 Malbec, and I tried the Cab Franc, but I couldn't buy it here in London. The allocation to the shop I go to only gets 6. So sadly, I wasn't able to get a single bottle of that, which was quite sad because it actually tasted really, really cool. And the Malbec is one of my favorites. That is just insane from Longrow. Longrow, I think one of the guys commented on my Springbank video saying there's an 18-year-old Longrow, which if you can get it, by all means take it because it's one of the better ones, which I still haven't found here in the UK. I think it's an older expression they told me to get, but I'll have a look because finding these Springbanks, they come in here in the UK and then they also do these allocations. So if you're lucky enough to get one, like 1 of 6 in the whole of a certain shop, then you're lucky. Otherwise, like I think Roy, he won. I think he got a Longrow Cab Franc, and then I think he got a Springbank 12 class strength from the recent batch that they released, and he was very lucky to get those 2. Like I couldn't even find 1 bottle of each. So things like that, they just go too quickly here.
That's terrifying to know that they handle their Springbank and Longrow that way. Hazelburn just sits on the shelf in Alberta for the most part. There's a whole bunch everywhere. There's the 13-year-old Cherry. There's the Barolo cask that I tried. Nobody's rushing out to get that, I guess, because there's absolutely no peat to that one whatsoever. I don't know. I'm not sure what the reasoning is behind it. Longrow and Springbank are starting to become one of those things where the shop owners in Alberta will email us first to see if we're interested in them. So I know that I lined up myself at least 2 Cab Francs, 1 for opening now to enjoy and 1 for stashing away. So I'm happy about that. But I'm looking, apparently in Alberta, there's still a couple of the Pinot Noir and the Cabernet Sauvignon. So if I can get those 2 Longrows, I'm crossing my fingers. If I can get them, I'll be really, really like a little fleet of all 4 of the Longrow Reds for you, or all 4 of those.
That'd be insane. That'd be such an insane video to see all this. I don't think no one ever has covered all of those special long rows. And those, I know when I was in Taiwan, okay, if anyone's going to Taiwan and you go to the whiskey shops over there or the liquor shops, you will see products like these long rows, and they've got Craigellachie's, which are travel exclusives and long discontinued, and some of these really cool bottlings. They're reasonably priced, and no one touches them because they're kind of scared of whiskey, and they're just developing into whiskey out there. And some of the younger generation, they buy like Lafroy 25 like it's tap water.
Wow.
I was just sitting in a bar, and I was just seeing this kid. He was like calling them over like this. He's like, "Come here." The person comes, Lafroy 25. And they go, "How many?" And they're like, 5. It's like, what the hell am I watching right now?
Yeah. He could have bought a bottle of it for the price of that dram, probably, for 5 of them over there anyway. He was asking
easily, because
bottles or 5 drams.
5 drams. I wouldn't be surprised if you said bottles, actually.
I was gonna say.
All right, so I'm gonna open this up. This one has not been opened. This is the peated cask. Beautiful. Which I can't even find the bottling date on it. Oh, there it is. 2017. This is a 7-year-old. Blimey.
Wow.
One of the older Kavalans I think I have.
So we tried to stay somewhat uniform. I mean, we did the Ex-Bourbon Solist together first, and then the second one we kind of both went off the map, but I was congratulating you for your 1,000 subscribers, and now we're both doing a peated whiskey. So I guess that's
we are keeping it uniform.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, as long as that's one thing I say to people as well when we go for tastings, as long as you're enjoying yourself and you're in good company and you've got whiskey in front of you that you can enjoy, that's all that matters. It's nothing. Exactly. Like today we were sitting there and someone was saying, "Oh no, but you got to get the most expensive whiskey and this and that." I said, "No, you don't." I said, "Just get any whiskey you want to enjoy it. Someone, as long as you got good company, you got great people to chat with." I said, "That's all you need to care about." Exactly.
Well, we have Roy in the chat. We have Peter White was in. I don't know if he's still in. He might have split. But we have Chris Santa Cruz, and we have Richie. We have Tom R that just joined us. We have Dan E. We have Blind Whiskey Reviews. Eric Waite just joined us. We have an awesome crew here. I'm honestly, and Drinking Caveman still sticking around, which is awesome. We're not going to stay on until 8 o'clock because that would just be madness. And I think nobody wants to see us get really messy over here. But this is my 3rd dram, and I think that's my last dram for the night. Eventually we'll wrap this up in the next 5 to 10 minutes or so. But like you said, it's just having all these cool people that tune into our videos on a weekly basis often. It's been pretty awesome, man. I can't complain about any of this. People ask me like, inspired you to do whiskey reviews, and I did not know that this was coming. I did not know that we were going to have people actually watching us live, enjoying a dram with us, people that you become good friends with. You know what I mean? It's just it's a crazy experience. Whiskey brings a lot of people together. That's what I learned.
It's actually funny. One lady at the bar today, when I was sitting there, she goes, "If everyone drank whiskey and as happy as I am right now," she goes, there'll be no war in the world." And I was like, she got a point there.
Yeah. Everyone did. Yeah, I think to create world peace, every country in the world should just send each other their best whiskey.
And it's one of the spirits that's got so much complexity. Like you got peated, you've got unpeated, you've got the sherry cask, bourbon cask. You've got all these different types, and then you've got in bourbons, you've got the wheated, basically a higher proportion of bourbon. You've got your rye. You've got all these different whiskeys across the board, and each does a fantastic job for the market in which people enjoy them, and it's wonderful. Yeah, it's amazing. It's truly remarkable. So, man, honestly, this Long Grow 13 is beautiful. I have a review of a Springbank 12-year-old coming out this Friday, and I literally have to edit it to stop like sounding so gushy about it. Like I literally have to edit out parts where I'm like, man, I love this whiskey and this whiskey sucks. Like I literally, that's what I'll be focusing on when I edit that video, just because
It's it's a little too much. My buddy Paulo just joined in. P Boss, what's up, brother? Paulo's one of the guys that every once in a while when I do a live, he'll sit in the background and make sure that I'm not making a complete fool of myself by like making sure I'm eating something or whatever. He's a great dude. So I'm happy that he just joined in. We usually go a little bit later than we are right now, but.
And Tom Hard's in the chat, and I just saw him, and he goes, "Don't forget the rum. There's always rum."
Yeah.
I actually got a rum cask Kavalan, which I don't know where. I think it's upstairs. But I got a rum cask matured Kavalan, and it's only available from the distillery. It's like 20 quid for the 300 mils. Really worth it if you think about the price and the quality of the whiskey, and it's up there with some of the best rum cask finished whiskeys I've had. But yeah, I need to get into the rum. I think Whiskey Throttle's actually joining the chat, and I want to congratulate Whiskey Throttle. He just hit 100 subscribers. I think it was a few days back. So congratulations, Whiskey Throttle, on 100 subscribers.
Cheers, Daniel. Good job, brother. I love that Daniel's doing this thing because he was hesitant at first, and I kind of forced his hand by having him on my channel and telling everybody that I have a video out in the first couple of weeks of being on my channel. But he's doing an awesome job. Everybody loves Daniel. So check out Whiskey Throttle, guys, if you haven't already. He's a super cool guy. Tom R is saying that he has a bottle of the No Age Statement Long Grow Peated. I have not tried that one. Sorry. But I can't imagine it being bad because it's a long grow. So
I want to ask a question to the chat and to everyone watching, basically. And even if you're watching this on the replay, what's your favorite Kavalan expression? So just to sort of ask about Kavalan, what's your favorite Kavalan expression? Because that's something that it intrigued me. When I first started, mine was not the classic. It was actually the Concept Master, which is a port cask. And from that, I bought the Solist Sherry. And then I went backwards and bought the classic, the Ex-Bourbon, which is there. And then I was in Taiwan in December, and I pretty much bought the shop. I need to send you a picture of the prices in Taiwan. You just be, it's just ridiculous.
You know what? I don't even want to know because I'll just be really jealous and probably cry myself to sleep. I
should fly to Taiwan and then fly to Toronto.
Yeah, exactly. I want to give a quick shout out to Parmeet Singh. He's saying big day for the Leafs on Thursday. For those of you that don't know, the Toronto Maple Leafs made the playoffs. This year, a little bit easier than most years. They actually made it. They kind of cruised into the playoffs, and they play the Boston Bruins first round, and it starts this Thursday. So I'm pretty pumped about that. Debating whether or not I'm going to be doing a like whiskey after the game type of thing, but I know my wife will probably shoot me if I add any more whiskey days to my week. So I think I'm releasing like 3 to 4 videos a week now. So I got to kind of cut down a little bit. But
Blind Whiskey Reviews is heading out. He says, "Got to run, friends. Have a good one," I think he said.
Cheers, John. Take care, buddy.
Take care, man.
Daniel's just saying that he loves us. Jeremy is saying his favorite is the 06 Sherry and PX. For your question earlier about the Kavalan, Tom is saying that he's only tried the two Kavalans, which is the
wow.
and the King Car. He thinks the PX is very rich. Daydreaming is saying the Solist Sherry. I wonder what batch he has because I wasn't a big fan of my batch, to be honest with you. Richie had only tried the Sherry Wood, and it wasn't his favorite. Whiskey Fan ACA is saying Kavalan is a unicorn in Toronto, which he's not incorrect. It's basically unavailable in Toronto. So Whiskey Fan, contact me later. Maybe I can help you out, brother. Maybe I can direct you in the right way. But if you...
Yeah, Duncan Hansmith is...
Go ahead.
I was going to mention, he's Duncan is basically saying Kavalan peated cask at the Whiskey Live Warsaw in 2015, had a sample and wish for more. That's the one I'm drinking right now. It's a 7-year-old peated Kavalan. This is actually drinking like a long grow. It's actually more towards a Springbank. It's got that nice soft sort of coastal, but at the same time a little peaty character. And then you're getting a very rich, viscous mouthfeel. And I don't know if you can see the legs on this thing, but they are they are holding up at the top there.
Yeah, definitely. That's
quite crazy.
That's a thick whiskey. Jeremy's asking if I've tried had the 10 sherry, which isn't as good as the he's saying that I had the 2010 sherry as opposed to the 06. He's probably right. I couldn't tell you because I haven't tried the 06. I have tried a sample of a sherry cask that was absolutely stunning, and the same guy we've been talking about all night that knows the ins and outs of Kavalan, which is Larry. He sent me that sample. He sent me a box of samples. Actually, it had quite a few, but the one that actually sticks out the most out of all the samples that he sent me was the Amaru Spectrum 005. That.
Oh wow!
Try that.
That's rare. I tried that at the Whiskey Live in October. That was superb whiskey. I think I even tried the Greedy Angels, and that one's around about 300 to 500 pounds here in the UK, depending on where you find it. And that is insane. I haven't had a chance to try fully Amrit's range and how to sit down with them, but I'm looking forward to covering a little bit of Indian whiskey at some point.
Honestly, like I've tried the intermediate sherry. I've tried the Porto Nova. I've tried the 004 Spectrum. I've had bottles of each. Sorry, not the intermediate sherry and the Porto Nova, but I've had samples of each. I've had a bottle of the Spectrum 004, and I've had a bottle of the Fusion. The only one that beats the Fusion for me is the Spectrum 005. That sample was absolutely incredible. I had a chance to share that sample with Jeremy in the chat. It was incredible. Quick shout out to Keith, who just joined us. Keith is from the Malted Man Cave on YouTube. He's saying that I have a beautiful beard, but he's a beautiful man. He's a great guy. So check out his YouTube channel. That's crazy. He just joined us. He's asking what he missed. We're about to wrap up, brother, so you missed quite a bit. But you can always watch it after if you like.
Okay, Tom R said he wants everyone to make a Snubs account right now so he can envy everyone else's collections.
Yeah, Tom R is being modest because he probably, if he really wanted to show us up, he could post some things on Snups that would make us all be very envious.
And Roy asked me, he goes, Jason, is it Convermore? Wait, let me find the comment. Convermore or Kavalan? So Roy knows I like this distillery called Convermore. It's a closed distillery that used to be owned by Diageo and now handed over to William Grant and Sons. I think they bought it over, the warehouse. They're completely closed. I think it's ghosted it's a silent distillery. But it's like one of my favorite whiskeys of all time. And Roy, you got me in a tight situation, but I'm going to have to say I edge towards Convermore ever so slightly. But in terms of variety, Kavalan offers the variety which I look for because they've got so many different cask finishes and different maturations, whereas Convermore just always had everything in a bourbon cask. So that answers Roy's question because I saw that there and that was just like I had to answer it. And I think Drinking Caveman's actually headed off. Charles, he's gone to. I think he said he's got to head out right now. So Charles, will catch you in another stream, maybe in your one later on.
Perhaps his like in about 40 minutes. Richie's asking a good question. He's saying, is the Moscato, the Amontillado, the PX, worth $500 plus? Honestly, I don't know. I don't know what is worth $500 plus. Like, is there a whiskey out there that's really worth $500? Like, this long girl at retail, I paid $120, not including shipping, for this whiskey. So I bought two of these. That cost me $240. Would I blindly choose a Kavalan over this? I'm not even sure. I don't know. Like, they're amazing. They are fantastic. I love this ex-bourbon. I am in love with the Port Solist. But $500 is a lot of money. So I don't know. I the answer to that. I don't know what is worth $500, to be honest with you.
I'm going to also add to that and say, don't buy it unless you go to a whiskey festival, or like if you can access a sample from a bar or try a dram of it. Don't dedicate £500 or $500. It's a lot of money, believe me. And I would not recommend anyone. I try to do this in my videos because that's why I say, like when I do an expensive whiskey, I'll say, if you can get a dram, try that first, but don't rush out and buy it. It's a lot of commitment to put that much money behind a bottle, and then if you don't like it or it just doesn't agree with you, you're gonna have that regret that you spent that much money. So, like you said, Rob, try not to pull the trigger too quickly unless you've tried it and you know exactly what you're buying, because like it's a lot of money. I think even Dan commented just behind that, and he goes no to Richie. Danny said no, and I'd probably say as well no, but try a dram first or try it at a festival. Then see if you like. I bought the Solist Moscatel. It's upstairs, but it's one that I keep looking to find which batch I actually tried at the whiskey festival, because it's one of those ones. I love the Manzanilla, but I want to see if I can switch my Moscatel with a Manzanilla. It's just I have a preference.
Quick shout out to Jeremy H. He's the man, honestly. Great guy. He's brought a lot to this channel, even behind the scenes. He just popped in $10. The super chat. Thank you so much, brother. He's saying, Rob, get us some Amroot 005 Spectrum. I'm going to do my best, brother. Me and Jeremy and I are going to a whiskey festival very shortly. We're going to the Spirit of Toronto May 5th. I want to say it's May 5th. And I hope Jeremy helps me not get too polluted that night, because the next day is my daughter's baptism. So it's going to if I'm not feeling too well the next morning, my wife will literally cut my, you know what. So, and then another shout out to Roy, such a classy dude. He just popped in some super chat as well. Thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate it. Honestly, this is our whiskey community, man. Like, just super cool guys, always watching and always helping out. And I think. Yeah, and then the Malted Man Cave just jumped in.
Malted Man Cave.
So, Keith, you're the man too, brother. Honestly, if you guys are not subscribed to Roy Aquavite, and if you're not subscribed to the Malted Man Cave, go do that right now, please, because these guys know their whiskey really well, and they're popping out some awesome videos. Also, if you haven't already, check out Toronto Whiskey Society. Jeremy's writing blogs about a variety of whiskeys, and the guy knows a lot about whiskey, probably more than I'll ever know. He is very detailed in his writing, and he gives you the full picture of what the product costs, how it tastes, how it smells, and whether it's worth buying. And then he gives you a numeric grade, and it's definitely worth checking out if you haven't already. He really knows his stuff, so check him out.
I was going to say, we've got Scott from My Bourbon Journey as well in the chat. And Scott, he focuses on bourbon. It's like one of my, at the minute, I'm trying to develop my palate into bourbons and rye. And so I've been checking out his channel quite a bit and going through and just trying to understand all these different bourbons he's going through, which is incredible. And Roy, also pronunciations. I don't know how many times I can never stop mentioning this one. For pronunciations of those Scotch Gaelic words, check out Roy's tutorials into the pronunciations. Like, many people couldn't pronounce Bunnahabhain, and then it's just send them to Roy's videos. Like, they go, how do you know how to say it? It's like, just check Roy's video.
Yeah, that's the only one that like I can remember. Bunnahabhain. It's actually Bunnahabhain, because like the V is supposed to sound like a V at the end. That's one of the things that sticks out to me. But it doesn't matter how many times I watch that video. I swear he's popped up that video. I don't know how long ago. It's got 100,000 views almost, and I literally watched it 50,000 times myself. And I so more cowbell with Santa Cruz. Thank you so much, brother. Honestly, Chris supports this channel in like a variety of ways. Like, he's such a great guy. He supports all of us, which is incredible. But just a super cool guy. He knows a lot about whiskey. I wish he would come on my channel. I've asked him several times to do it. Hopefully one day he'll pop in. Really, really nice guy. Thank you so much, Chris. Really appreciate it. Honestly, this Long Grow Red is phenomenal. Like, it's so good.
I'm looking forward to your Springbank one that you've got coming up, because you know what you're saying, you're describing it and you're like falling in love with this whiskey. Like, I did that today in my Talisker 30 video, and people were just like, it's like you almost, like, you should just be a brand ambassador. You should just sort of embody the brand, because you're just talking too much about the whiskey, and just like the way you're describing it is making me almost salivate. It's like it was like a feeling like a taste in the whiskey, and it was one of those things that I was like, sometimes when you sit with the whiskey, you get all these different notes, and you're just sitting there, just like, whoa, I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, like, a lot of people think that I'm getting paid by like Macallan or Wiser's or like all these different companies because I enjoy a whiskey. Honestly, I won't buy a whiskey unless I have a good idea that I'm gonna probably enjoy it. That's my son calling me at the. I don't know what he's saying, but I'm still on the fence about this one, to be honest with you, but we'll see. I have that second bottle. I may return. I may not. I don't know. But there's only 5,500 bottles of that, so I might want to hang on to that one because it is good.
Just see how it oxidizes.
Yeah, I think that's probably for the best. It'll have like, if I do this properly, which I never do, and Jeremy's the first one to point that out all the time, but if I go based on what I bought first, eventually I'll get to that, and that'll be the last one to, and hopefully by that point it'll be a lot better. I don't think it's bad per se, but it's not as good as this Long Grow Red, but kind of at a disadvantage because it doesn't have those barbecue elements that I'm really digging these days. So we'll see.
Oh, Lecheg. From the same distillery produces Lecheg, and from them you get that barbecue sort of spare ribs characters, and you're just like, it's one of those things. Like, when I was trying Lecheg, I was like, it can't be that good. And then I try it again and again, and it's like, damn, they're onto something over there. And it's the Isle of Mull, the island where they're located. And crazy whiskey they're producing over there. The Tobermory is like all unpeated effectively. And all these casks, like you're saying, Manzanilla, Masala, they're actually using that even as unpeated, but at the same time they're using it on the peated casks and the sherry casks. So it's amazing what they're doing over there.
Yeah. I'm hoping that, has Long Grow come out with a Marsala yet for their Long Grow Red collection?
I don't believe so, not yet. I think the Springbank had it was a Burgundy cask, sorry. I saw that today when I was going through one of the shops in London, and the guys were trying to ask me 250. This is them, it's only worth £80 when it was in the shops like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And they're trying to rip me off, but I heard the Burgundy is really cool, but I don't think a Masala's hit the market yet. That'll be insane. I'm
hoping that they come out with that. I'm hoping that they come out with a Barolo cask. I'm hoping that they come out with some of the Italian ones, because I really want a Marsala or a Barolo whiskey finished or aged whiskey to actually represent what that kind of wine tastes like. And I haven't found it yet, so I'm hoping for that to come. We'll see.
I was gonna ask, because have you found the Glendronach Masala cask 14-year-old?
So I have access, like right now, if I wanted to pull the trigger, I can buy a bottle of that, and I haven't pulled the trigger yet. Have you tasted it?
Yes. It's like
What's
candy
that like?
sweets, and then you get the spices coming afterwards. So I like that one a lot, but in the UK, I bought the last bottle in London, the allocation we had. And since then, I was trying to find another bottle so I could open that one bottle. And I was thinking, I'm just going to get every single Glendronach, so the 12, I've got the 15, I've got the 18, I need to get the 21, and then I get all these odd bottlings in between, so like the 13 from the Scandinavian market, the 14 in the Masala, the 16, the 17, all these sort of weird bottlings, even if it's single casks. And I thought that'd be a fun idea to actually merge all these into one video and just do like a crazy Glendronach range. Like, I saw your Tawny Port video, and I was like, that's insane that you got the both Tawny Ports. So I don't know, something like that struck my mind, and I said that would be a kind of a fun but crazy video.
Yeah, no, but that would be. I mean, obviously, you'd have to be a little bit less generous with the pours, but I think you can handle it.
Yeah. I still haven't tried live streaming myself. I don't know. It's one of those things that I give proper props to you guys who actually do this on a weekly basis. It's difficult to do a live stream and pay attention to the chats and.
It's tough to come up with there's times where I'm like, my biggest fear is dead air, and now that we're approaching the end of it, I'm not so worried. But there's times where like you're concerned that there's gonna be nothingness for like a minute or two, and then people are just gonna be like, sign off, sign off, sign off, sign off. But I think that leads well into what I was gonna say next, which is, why don't you tell us about where these guys can find you, what you got going on, and we'll wrap this up. Why don't you tell them where you are right now in the whiskey world?
All right, so right now, in terms of on YouTube, it's Jason Whiskey Wise, all as one word. What I'm doing, I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and I'm going to be soon on Snubs as well. So you guys will be able to see my collection on there. Instagram, I'm posting all my daily stories. So today, you'll probably see everything that I drank today. Which is going to look kind of crazy today. It's going to look so bad pre-stream and then after the stream. But yeah, that's what I'm doing at the minute. On YouTube, I'm trying to focus now at the minute and just do all these whiskey ranges. So if any one of you guys would like to give your input into sort of which whiskey range, because if I've got the whiskeys, I'm going to sit with it. I'm trying to do Lafroig and Bunnahabhain, and probably even a bit of Glenmorangie, Glen Scotia, which is another Campbelltown whiskey I just adore at the minute, and probably Glen Murray. I've got loads of whiskies to do. I got to find time just to sit with all these whiskies and get through them. But yeah, YouTube, just doing the reviews. I'm going to be changing up my actual background. So because I hit 1,000 subscribers, I actually went and created my own background, which is insane. It was a 3-hour process, but I'm so glad I did, because you guys will see it tomorrow. It's gonna look completely interesting. But yeah, mine is that. Yeah, distillery tours and traveling around the world and whiskey shows, and I'll be taking you along with me to all these different events. And even I've got actually a series I haven't mentioned yet, but I'll mention it to you now. It's called Meet the Master. So I'm going to be going around Scotland, around the world, to these different distilleries, meeting master distillers and also major brand ambassadors, and taking you through their whiskies and understanding not just about the whiskey, but about the person creating them. So it gives you a completely different spin, different dimension to just knowing about the whiskey. What drives the people in the industry to make these whiskeys, and what created that passion behind it? So that's behind the channel soon. So you're going to see. It sounds like a lot of content. It is. At the minute, it's almost daily, except for Sundays. I need one day of rest. But it's absolutely fun.
Yeah,
and I hope you guys join me on that.
Yeah, no, and that's gonna be amazing. That Meet the Master, that's gonna be really cool. That's something that I mean, a couple people have dabbled with so far, but that's gonna be an entire series is gonna be really, really cool. So I'm looking forward to that myself. Honestly, man, like whenever I'm curious about a whiskey that I haven't tried, I'll come to your channel. I'll come to like one of our other buddies that are doing this same thing. And it's been a lot of help for me personally, because I hate buying something blind and then being really disappointed with it. So I thank you for what you're doing. You're doing an awesome job. You're at 1,000 subscribers. You're gonna blink your eyes and it's gonna be at 2,000. So trust me, the ride is just starting for you. And I honestly believe that, because you're doing an awesome job, brother.
Thank you, Rob. I'm having fun. For me, it's like tracking a journey and getting to share your notes with friends who are drinking around the world. It's like you're almost having like that virtual session of drinking, and people that's one thing I love about the YouTube platform is people share. Like I've read your comment section as well. People share, oh, I've tried this whiskey. I thought it was like this. I got this note. And it's like you're almost like you get to sit with people, and whilst you're having your dram, you're listening to our tasting notes and you're conferring it, and that's how you get to the end of it and understand exactly what everyone else is thinking of the exact same product and become to a consensus on it as well, which is really awesome.
Absolutely. All right, well, I want to thank you for coming on my channel tonight, man. I really appreciate it. It was a blast. I had a lot of fun. I managed to stay somewhat sober, which is perfect for me, because the last few times I kind of let things get a little bit out of hand. But honestly, it was a great time. I had a blast, brother. So I really appreciate you joining. Again, guys, if you haven't already, go to his channel, Jason Whiskey Wise on YouTube. Great guy, great reviewer. And yeah, man, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me, Ruff.
All right, guys. Cheers. Thank you very much for joining in. Appreciate you all. You guys are awesome. And I was going to do that. And cheers, guys.